Welcome back, students, in the third unit, that is project organizational structure and its issues. In last lecture, we have seen different styles of leadership. We have seen the relationship between the project management and line management. Today, let us discuss what is actually the conflict resolution. Let us see what is a project conflict actually. Project conflict that can arise between multiple stakeholders in a project. The reason that can be anything: opposing ideas, project stress, or different requirements, different budgetary constraints, lack of commitment, or any another reason there can be. But the conflicts, they can arise due to these particular reasons. That is actually the conflict that arise in a project. Now let us see how to resolve that particular conflict, how the project manager is responsible for resolving that project conflict. Let us see today. Okay, that is a conflict. When a particular conflict arises, it negatively impacts all the peoples they are involved, from top level of the management to the working people or the persons they are working under a particular team leader. Okay, because of this, the projects that get stalled temporarily, leading to time and cost overruns also. If not addressed on time or not solved on time, whatever the particular conflict that was arised, that conflict can hamper the project progress and employee productivity, leading towards the delay and poor quality deliverables regarding the project. Let us first discuss actually what are the different types of the conflicts in a particular project management. We have seen what is the conflict, how that conflicts can arise, and what is the important, who is the responsible for resolving that particular conflict, and the conflict is affecting how many terms, mean how many people they are working together in that particular project, how that conflict is responsible for making them disturbing their work, disturbing their time span, disturbing their budget, everything regarding the project, so that the project cannot be feasible at the end of the time span given by a particular stakeholder. Now what are the types of conflict in that project management? Let us discuss. Conflicts, they are inevitable. They show up in a various forms and they never fail to disbalance different projects. Project teams, they have multiple peoples with their different personalities, the ways of working, communication style, and emotional levels also. Based on these different aspects, there are different types of conflicts. The first type is conflicts that can arise due to unclear task expectations. What is actually this conflict? Let us discuss. In some scenarios, the team members, they do not have clarity on how to proceed with the project's task. In the absence of a clear roadmap, the task management that takes a particular path. Some team members, they work in a certain direction while other proceed in a totally opposite direction. This thing that leads to the conflicts within the team, with the team manager, and that affects the overall task progress regarding the project. To handle this type of project conflict, it is very advisable to lay clear and measurable goals before the team. Let each member know what they are supposed to do, the task they need to do, work, and the different timelines that should be followed for purpose of completing different steps of the project. With a definite project workflow, each team member that knows what exactly is expected out of the team. This is how there can be a conflict due to the unclear task expectation, so that while preparing that while preparing that particular project or planning that particular project, whatever the expectations of different peoples, different managers or different team leaders or different team workers, that should be clearly told to them before starting the project. At the phase of the planning, everything should be clear about the task expectations, so that there will be no conflicts regarding the task expectation. Now let us discuss the next type of conflict, that is conflict due to poor leadership. As a team manager, you need to guide your team on the right track by setting measurable goals, distributing different tasks, and monitoring the progress of the task. Okay, that is the main work of the team management. He have to set different goals, have to distribute the task according to the skills of the different people, and he have to monitor the progress of the task each and every time. Means after the ending of each and every phase, he have to monitor the whatever the progress of that particular step is done. All this task is to be done by a project management. Your constant encouragement and motivation that can bring out the best in every team member. This thing particularly ensures that the project tasks are completed on time without any issue. But in contrast to that, poor decision making by a project management. Here, the main person is project manager who is responsible for creating this type of conflict, that is due to poor leadership, that leads to long down conflicts. If they are clueless about task distribution and project tracking, the entire focus of the team that gets disturbed. The employees problem they get, okay, whatever the problems of the employees that they get unattenuated, and there is a confusion in handling the different responsibilities, which particularly negatively impacts and delay the final deliverables. That is how a poor leadership, a particular project manager who is leading the project, is not able to make different decisions regarding to the different steps, regarding to the different conflicts. Then there can arise the number of conflicts or problems in the completion of that particular project. The next type of conflict, we can say lack of communication, the conflict that is arising due to the lack of communication. As we have seen in one of the lecture about the communication is one of the most important skill of a project manager. The project manager once himself should be able to communicate with the higher authority as well as the lower authority, that is with the people of the particular team and stakeholders and different higher authorities related to the that particular project completion. Let us see what is the conflict that is arising due to the lack of communication. Many times it is so happens that team members they work in a silos and they are not aware of the progress of each other's task. This lack of communication can stall the progress of the project because they are working with each another. Their work is dependent on one another. If they do not have good communication in between one another, they will not be able to understand what actually the work progress of the another person is. So that there will be lack of communication, there will be lack of progress of the project. The clear communication is a mute to avoid confusion and to keep everyone on the same page. With each individual clear about this task, the chances to task the duplication they are reduced to minimum. A powerful project management software, different softwares are there in the market regarding the project management. They give a proper idea about the communication in between the project members and project manager. This is how the conflict they can arise due to the lack of communication in a project management. The next conflict we will see about the project management, that is conflict that is arising due to the varied working styles. Any project that is a combination of multiple tasks, usually each team member is assigned a distinct task. Okay, hence to ensure that the task is perfectly completed on time, there is need to be a proper coordination amongst the team members. But differently team members have different styles of working. Okay, some are quick learners and they take individual responsibilities very soon, while others require more guidance and work at a slower pace. The different working style that can hamper the flow of project and slow it down considerably, because some who are slow learners they are not able to work properly with the fast learners. They will not be able to complete their particular work with the same speed. When the project that does not progress as a plan and the road that seems the endless conflicts they can be occur around the particular project completion. The next type of conflict that arises due to different personalities of different peoples. A project team that can have members with diverse personalities. Okay, you have to slow learners and the innovators. Some might be introverts while others are extroverts. There could be people from different ethnic and different backgrounds. Everyone they has their different beliefs, attitudes and modes of working, modes of interaction. These differences that can at some point in time lead to misunderstanding, misconception, and they can lead towards the different conflicts. For example, let us see a team member that can find a personal remark of his peer disrespectful or arrogant behavior. He may feel uncomfortable interacting with the concerned persons. Even seeing the person every day can be the different can be the stressful environment can be creating around him. This eventually leads to the unproductive work and unwanted, leading to the project failures. The next type of conflict that can arise due to the over budget. Every particular project that comes with the definite requirements like manpower, tools, software, etc. These requires a clear cut budgetary allocation throughout the project execution phase. But many times the many organization they resort to cost cutting thereby hampering to the project flow. This requirement purchase is delayed. There is no hiring of new resources and the client bill remains unpaid. Further, some of the teams they get more budget while other receives a different parts of the overall budgetary allocation, leading towards the conflict among the project management itself. In such scenario, it is necessary to plan the budget before coming your project. Means be in the stage of planning, you have to make the budget regarding to each and every step and each and every teams. Every team's budget should be planned differently at the phase of the project planning phase. The next type of conflict that can arise due to project scope creep means out of project scope creep. A project scope creep that is a situation in a project management where the requirements crop up at the last minute. You might have already planned the project and the project may be flowing smoothly, but when more features that they can get added, the budget shoots up and responsibilities of the different people increases. This thing particularly creates the disorder in the team. This requirement that can break the flow of the project and take your team members by surprise. Many of them might be unwillingly to work on extra requirement that require more time and efforts. Few others may not be clear about the new additions and work in different manner. With these unclear responsibilities and different working condition, the team morale comes down, leading to the conflicts. After this, let's see what is conflict resolution. We have seen till now what are the different types of conflict that can arise due to different reasons in a particular project progress. Okay, in a team, if the people are not working, they are not communicating with each other, they are lacking behind the other people or different. Just now we have seen the different types of conflicts. That are the conflicts. The main important task of a project manager is to resolve that different conflicts, bringing together a group of people to work on a project or in a workplace, and there is a bound to be conflict at some point. Everyone has a different need, goals, attitude, or outlook which doesn't always agree with someone else. A key skill of any project or team management is conflict resolution in the workplace. It's very important that any conflict that arises is dealt with quickly and professionally to avoid the issues they are affecting the moral and productivity and ensure there isn't any delay to a project completion. Everybody does that particular everybody that deals with the conflict in a different way, and how the project management or project manager that deals with it that can impact the whole team. Okay, this is how the conflict resolution is to be done. The conflicts they are arising due to different reasons. That conflicts have to be resolved and that problem should be resolved every time. Now let us see what are the different strategies for resolving this conflict. Here, everyone has different preferred approaches to managing conflicts in the workspace. Okay, understanding these different strategies they can help move a project or team forward when the conflict occurs. Now let us see what are the different strategies. The first strategy of conflict resolution strategy is nothing but the way how a particular project manager is solving that particular problem, solving that particular conflict. That is nothing but the strategy of that particular conflict resolution. The first strategy, that is avoiding. In this way, this is when people seek to withdraw from or ignore any conflict, usually because feeling uncomfortable about the confrontation, any possible reward from resolving it. The problem is that this strategy doesn't really resolve the issues because there is a lack of contribution to the conversation. Means there is no conversation in between the people, and the particular project manager is avoiding that particular conflict. Whatever the conflict is arise, that conflict he is not, instead of solving that particular so, sorry instead of avoiding that particular conflict, he is no, sorry instead of solving that particular conflict, he is avoiding that conflict. That is a one type of strategy. Next strategy, that is competition. The people who are overly assertive rather than cooperative enter into the conflict resolution with the intention of winning. There is an assumption that one person wins and the other loses, pushing out any chance of seeing a different perspective. As a result of this is not usually a good strategy for resolving the conflict within a group. The next strategy for resolution is accommodating. Giving into the wishes or demands of another is being cooperative but not assertive. Yes, it appears that the person is being gracious, that should their argument be incorrect, but when a person gives in just to keep the peace, it isn't necessarily helpful. Similar to avoiding, it doesn't always lead to a satisfactory resolution to an issue and leaves the poor open for more assertive members of the group that took the control. The next type of strategy 4, that is collaborating. For most project or team managers, this is probably the strategy. They will use a collaborative person, is cooperative and assertive at the same time, allowing each member of the group to contribute and then resolving the issue by establishing a shared resolution that can all support. And the last type of strategy, that is compromising. In this, it is similar to collaborating, but the person is only halfway towards being assertive and cooperative. The concept here is that each member of the group that gives up something so that no member gets everything. This is perceived as the best outcome. Working to compromise that is fair, although often no one is completely happy with the final resolution. Besides all this fight or type of strategies for the resolution of the conflict, there are a number of strategies how particular person or project manager is trying to solve, trying to resolve that particular conflict. One of them is setting guidelines. By setting different guidelines, the project manager can resolve the conflict. Let us see how. This particular strategy for resolving conflict is very useful to lower the chances of occurrences of the project conflicts. Here, your team members, they need to be given clear guidelines regarding the ideal behavior expected from the team. Okay, for example, your team members, they can be well trained on the team hierarchy. Okay, who to approach when meeting guidelines, how to work in alignment with the organizational goals, and many more. When all the guidelines they are clear right from the starting of the project, there are less chances of miscommunication, hence the probability of conflict resolution resolves. And setting guidelines, we can resolve the different conflicts. Next one, we can see active listening. In the active listening, this is a type of strategy of resolution of a conflict. With active listening, you get to learn the viewpoint of all the parties they are involved in the conflict. Okay, the different stakeholders, they face multiple concerns that make them behave in a certain way. Hence, getting to the root of their conflict emotions is very essential for unbiased problem solving. For example, let us consider that imagine that a project that gets stalled due to the ego clashes between the two team members. Instead of directly confronting them, you can actively listen to their problems, understand that the source of their misunderstanding, the dip it happened, did that particular happen all the sudden, or where the emotions built up from the long time. Also, ask a question to ensure that you go to the fact of the matter right and do not fall prey to negative assumptions. Finally, rephrase or sum up what both the people or both of them are seeing. In this way you can make sure that you clearly understand their challenges before taking a final decision. This is how active listening helps for the resolution of the conflict. The next strategy of the conflict resolution can be considered as embrace the conflicts and learn from them. Sometimes the conflicts they are unavoidable at the workplaces. The employees have different viewpoints with respect to the nature of the work, pay scale, project scope, creep, and different budgets. Instead of perceiving conflict as problems, see them as an opportunity to bring the positive changes to your organization. Let us consider when a conflict that occurs that take it head on and encourages each team member to speak their minds freely. Listen closely to their concerns, probably your entire team that can learn more from this situation and not repeat the same mistake in the future. In fact, embracing the conflicts helps you to expand your team skills and foster the innovation in the long run. This is how embracing the conflict and learning from the particular conflict situation, you will be able to resolve the conflict and do so many good things regarding the project completion. The next strategy of project resolution, conflict resolution, is encouraging the team collaboration. Here, sorry, the collaborative technique that is an important technique of conflict resolution in project management. The parties they are involved in the conflict come to a solution that it is satisfactory to all. Everyone has something to gain in this approach as a solution that is arrived at that by taking multiple opinions. For example, let us consider there could be a immense disagreement in a team with respect to the other distributions. A collaborative technique that ensures the work that is distributed equally and no single individual is unduly burdened. With this, the team member they feel sense of satisfaction and the team morals that goes up. This is how encouraging the team collaboration you can resolve the particular conflict they are arising. This strategy helps in a good manner. Next strategy we can consider using the power compromises. In a compromising approach, both the parties they sacrifice some beliefs or ideas for the greater good of the team. This particular approach requires the concerned parties to collaborate and work towards a common team goal rather than being fixed on one individual's issues. Usually, the compromise techniques that leads to a different conflict resolution as the parties they sit though to discuss, negotiate, and exchange their ideas. For example, if one member of the team he wants to perform feedback every 2 week and the other wants it every 4 week, you can achieve a middle ground by making it every 3 week. Here, both the parties may not have got what they actually desire, but it satisfies them towards some degree. This is how, by compromising in different situation, you can resolve the particular conflict. The next strategy we can consider as constructive criticism. Here, in constructive criticism, that is a technique that involves giving encouraging feedback to everyone that is involved in the conflict. Here, the aim is to put forth a frank and straightforward opinion to solve the problems, but at the same time, be supportive and point out the good work that is done by your team members. They must not feel resentful and walk out of the conflict resolution process. You may have continue working with the same people one different project and you cannot afford bitterness to linger on. Hence, make sure that while resolving a conflict constructively, use a polite and calm tone. Make them understand the mistakes, but also give them opportunity to work upon their shortcomings. Over time, you will see that your colleagues that will even appreciate your negative feedback with good attention. This is how constructive criticism work for the resolution of conflict. Where the next strategy is pragmatic decision making. Here, the pragmatic leaders they adapt their decision based on the changing needs of their team. They make sure that their decisions are balanced in both emotions and reasoning. In doing so, they take an empathetic approach for solving different team conflicts. For example, when a conflict that arises, they analyze both sides of the issues clearly. All the parties to a conflict they get a fair chance to speak out and add their inputs with everybody's feedback. A pragmatic leader they tends to take an unbiased view of the situation, not just solving the immediate problem, but they also learn from the conflict and put it in a place effective measurement for the nature. This is how this decision making helps in resolution of the conflict. This is a good approach for the resolution of different conflicts. And last, we can consider appointing a mediator. Mediator is a conflict resolution technique where you can bring a third person to resolve the project conflicts. A mediator in between the two people that act as a bridge between the two conflicting individuals and listens to each of their concerns carefully. They ensures that team members they don't get stuck up arguments and help the members to reach the mutual agreements. Different researchers they show that people they tend to be more satisfied with the outcome of meditation that other formal methods. Okay, you can use the meditation to tackle the disputes that could turn out to be more damaging in the future. As opposed to a formal dispute resolution mechanism, meditation is a faster, less time consuming and barely a stressful. This is how different strategies are used in project management for the purpose of resolving the conflict they are arise due to different reasons. Okay, getting clear idea about the strategies. Till now we have seen what is actually the conflict, and so we have seen why the conflict that arises in between the different members of a project, different stakeholders, different team members, different team leaders, different project management managers, line managers. Why the conflicts arises, we have seen the different types of conflicts in the project management also. Why the what are the types, means how the conflicts they are arising here. We have seen, for example, the conflicts due to unclear task expectations. The project manager have different expectations from the particular persons or team members, and they are not clear about the expectations, means at the initial stage of the project planning the project manager is not have not done clear, have not given the clear idea about the expectations towards the people. Next, the conflict due to different poor leadership. If a project management is a not good leader, he is not able to communicate with the people, lack of communication, then there will be arising different conflicts also. Okay, if there are different types of working styles, I mean different variations in the working style, then also the conflict can arise. One person, one particular member of a team is working in a different style, another is working in different time, one is completing his work early and another is lagging behind. In this way there can be conflict. The step is not the particular step regarding to both the combination of both the members working, that is not being completed in particular given time. That's why also there can be the arising of the different conflicts, different due to the different personalities of the peoples, due to different over budget. Some of the team are getting less budget, some teams are getting more budget. That's why also there can be different conflicts arising. These are the different types of conflict we have seen, and after that we have seen the different strategies for the purpose of resolution of the conflict. We have seen basic five strategies: avoiding competition, accommodating, collaborating and compromising. And after that, number of types of conflict resolution strategies also we have seen, where we can resolve the conflicts in a proper way. This is all about the conflict resolution in the project management.